What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. Let me come along and say hello. Where is it saying? Nope, this one. This will do it. So, Sheena, you had a bovine day? I don't know what that means. Like a cow day? You had a cow, man. I hope everybody's doing well today. I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. I know, like, mushroom ketchup has now become obviously a thing. Really wants to do this up. So, hi MB, nice to see you. Oh God, okay. Give me 1 second because put me here, but that way the chat can be over there and actually up. Um, if you're just arriving, yesterday I started making something called mushroom ketchup, inspired slash instructed by a channel called the Townsends, which is an 18th century company that I love, and they're on YouTube. And so yesterday we started at Georgia. We started with the preparation for the mushroom ketchup, which involved me chopping up the mushrooms and salting them. We left them overnight. And then I had to actually just get going on this because if I didn't, it wouldn't have happened. So what I did was I chopped up an onion, a white onion. I zested an entire lemon. I added 2 cloves of garlic and I added allspice and cloves and bay leaves to the pot. And what I did actually then, it's very, very hot today. And so and it's a holiday here still. Like I'm wearing my bathing suit because it's a holiday Monday here. So, what we've done now, I actually put it on the barbecue. So I put all of that together. Maybe he was. I don't know, Hector. Was that like maybe he was? You can't really see it down. Um, probably. So I cooked that for 15 minutes on the barbecue. I just because I didn't want to heat up the house. So I put this pot on the barbecue. All the mushrooms are in there. All their juices are in there. Were in there as well. It's still quite hot. We have to let this cool down a little bit. And then of course we have to strain that. So we will be straining that. I didn't change any heist amounts, which is weird, Sashina. But I'll look at it and see if something's off with the odds. But I don't have a cheesecloth, y'all. This is sort of where we're at, like thinking about how to do that. So I have 2 ideas that we may be able to utilize in order to strain this through and get what we want to get out of it. Both of them are probably stupid ideas. I'm just thinking about that as I say it. So my first idea is I had it. I do have some court that we're gonna watch. Well, apparently, I was gonna use my coffee, my one like I have a pour over coffee thing with coffee filters, so I thought that would work, right? Um, and then, but sorry, before I walk, let's get the court going. Pantyhose, like I don't have any of those. I really don't. Do I? I don't think I do. Oh, ooh, a sock would be sort of gross, right? No, we're not asking Nana. No, no, no. And I'm not at home at that house anyway, so I'm trying to think though what I have. Uh, well, in the meantime, why don't we get going with some court while I figure that out? Yeah, I have some napkins that I make, like cloth napkins I might be able to sacrifice. This girl looks familiar, but this was only 6 hours ago. I have already
Good
washed
morning,
it.
everyone. We're here for the Bothell Municipal Court 9:30 calendar for Monday, the 7th of August. I'm Judge Mara Rosano. This calendar is being conducted on Zoom. It is also being live streamed to YouTube. Anyone watching on YouTube who wishes to participate in a particular case needs to go to the Bothell Municipal Court website, click on the link to video court, and then click on the link to enter the virtual courtroom. Once there, let the administrator know which case it is you wish to be heard on, and that information will be conveyed to me. The official record of these proceedings will be made and maintained by the Bothell Municipal Court. Anyone making a recording without having obtained prior approval of the court may be subject to legal action, including but not limited to contempt proceedings. With that, I believe we are ready to proceed this morning. Good morning, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. If we can, on the 9/29 calendar, if we can first address Ms. Briggs, there is a new arraignment matter, 3A05-99053. Count 1 is an allegation of domestic violence assault in the 4th degree. Count 2, an allegation of domestic violence malicious mischief in the 3rd degree. There is a tracking review, 3A040328, although that was added to the calendar simply because of the new booking. She hadn't missed court on that case quite yet. As to the arraignment matters, we did go over the maximum penalties for the charges. We also discussed the potential mandatory minimum penalties. We discussed the constitutional rights she has at the stage of the proceeding, indicating no additional questions at this time. And so we are prepared to move forward with the arraignment.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Briggs.
Good morning.
You're here for arraignment, so I need to confirm that Jessica A. Briggs is your true name.
Yes.
Ms. Pimentel just told me she went over quite a bit of information with you this morning, including your constitutional rights. Did you understand all of them?
Yes.
Ms. Pimentel.
We'll acknowledge receipts of both complaints, waive formal reading, and enter pleas of not guilty as to both counts.
Not guilty pleas will enter. The court has previously had an opportunity to review the police reports, did make findings of probable cause. What is the city's request with regard to release and conditions?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sarah Yell, the Rule 9 intern for the city. The city is requesting bail to be set in the amount of $10,000. Besides this charge, there's already the pending assault that was on July 3rd, 2023. City's concerned that Ms. Briggs is danger to her family and the community. We're also requesting a no contact order with the victim in this matter, Sean Berwick, as well as standard DV conditions.
Ms. Pimentel.
There's no objection to standard DV conditions. If the court is the least restrictive, if the court is imposing the order, we did go over that. I think she does understand what that means. There's been no allegations to my knowledge of her violating the previous order that the court had imposed last month. She is asking the court to release her on her own recognizance. She is, I would note, obviously the parties are not residing together. That's not going to be an issue. And it sounds like she is working with some providers to try and get some services or has been in the last few weeks. She has been keeping in good contact with my office. She and I spoke not very long ago prior to her being booked into custody. So based on all of that, Your Honor, we're asking the court to allow her an opportunity to hopefully adjudicate.
Okay, so yes, Courtney, you're totally right. It is going very slowly, but it is working. We'll see. I put only liquid in there basically, and it's still going really slow, and there's a whole lot to go. I have a feeling I'm gonna be dedicating a dishcloth to this. Also, Courtney, do you know I was very upset when I woke up this morning thinking, actually, I'm quite early for we got a case, only to see them signing off. I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, oh my God. And then I was out for lunch or brunch during we got Chase. So I was just looking at the chat. Oh, I feel you. Yeah, this is too slow. This is too slow. So, yeah, the end of the messed up case. And yeah, it was like, I listened to the entire thing afterwards, and it sounds funny, but like, maybe one of the best episodes to not have been there for, because they handled it so well and so professionally that it was unlike a regular show in a way. And I just thought it was very well handled. And maybe it was meant to be that I wasn't there. Like, I'm not a good influence all the time. I don't know. I mean, that's just being full of myself. Anyways, it was intense. I listened to it, the whole thing. But most often when I like go back and rewatch lives, I'm always like, oh, I want to be, like I want to be engaging too. But in that one, most of it, I was just like, wow, this guy needs some help. I mean, I personally think that was mania to the nth degree, very obvious. But I'm obviously not a medical professional. So, um, also, I would like to say, like, Judge DeSanto handled that beautifully. Um, I mean, he did get a 3-hour session for free, basically. And he said that at the end. He was like, the therapist said I can only get an hour and I would need 3. Well, she just gave you 3, and she's probably got as much training as some therapists, but she listened very well to him. He was looking for attention. I don't think he thought that they would find him. Although, if he was a court watcher like us, we all knew that was not normal. Immediately, every single one of us that watches court regularly went, oh, they're working on something. They are dealing with how to deal with him, because we know the judges don't like to waste time, that they don't mince words, that they hate being goaded the way that he was goading her. Like, oh, well, you're going to tell me to go to jail. I'm not going to go. Like, he was doing a lot of things that normally would be dealt with in a different way. And the way the court was dealing with it was very abnormal. It was perfect for this scenario, but it was an abnormal reaction that I think we all can acknowledge as avid court watchers. Hi, Allie B from Tennessee. Yes, we are now going to attempt the second thing, because this is barely coming out now. So apparently this is too much. I'm going to get the cloth. We'll keep watching and we'll go from there. Oh, I forgot to mention that I put apple cider vinegar in there. So we have the onion, the lemon zest, garlic, allspice, cloves, bay leaves, and half a cup of apple cider vinegar. Stirred, cooked for 15 minutes. So that is the recipe, and it smells delightful. I'm super excited for it. I had a little taste. It was not over salted. Billy talked to me about that the other day. Yeah, I thought it might be, but I wasn't. Yeah, and B, I think the judge was trying to maintain the situation calm because she didn't know if there was a pew pew around. Uh, but I think she was in contact with the chief or whatever, the sergeant, and said that, like, hey, call your buddy. Like, he knows the deal. This guy's coming to jail, like, right now. So, anyways, only in Michigan, huh? That's happened twice in Michigan, once in Atlanta.
Get this out of custody. I would ask for direct appointment, given that we have recently been appointed, and I don't believe her financial situation has changed.
Ms. Briggs, you are a difficult case to decide what to do with. On one hand, you have had basically no history up until about a month ago. On the other hand, you have 2 allegations of domestic violence assault within that period of time. So I've got to figure out what to do. The safety of the community is a concern, right? What providers have you been talking to, and where are you at with getting treatment?
I made an appointment with a doctor I've been seeing for years. She ended up canceling that appointment last minute, so I saw a new doctor through the same clinic online. It's Overlake Clinics. And she upped my dosage of the medication that I have been taking. And then she has sent some referrals for therapists. I just haven't done that yet. I haven't gotten the chance to.
All right. Ms. Briggs, I am going to release you today on your personal recognizance. I don't want to see you back here with new charges. I don't think you want to be back here with new charges. I am concerned. I am giving you the opportunity to dig yourself a deeper hole. I don't want to do that either, but
Right.
I'm going to give you the opportunity, but this is what I'm going to indicate. And Miss Pimentel, I think under the circumstances and the totality of the situation here, this is appropriate given the allegations in the police report.
Allie, that's because you were watching it in the wrong place, honey. Come and watch it with us. With Credence and Mikey. No offense to Law Talk. You guys know where I hang out during the day. Also, this worked perfectly, by the way. No, Vicky, I'm making it right now. So the mushroom ketchup, I've literally just strained out the ketchup, which is the sauce. And I'm still getting some out. You can hear it. So good. And then we're going to dry this off, and we are going to we're going to lay this out and dry it. There we go. Okay. Let's keep playing.
I'm going to indicate that I'll release you on your personal recognizance on the following conditions. You need to notify the court in person or in writing of any change of address, have no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause, make an appointment with your attorney and make it to that appointment, because as we talked about before, they can't help you if you are not talking to them. I am direct appointing Ms. Pimentel's office so that based on the previous review. You will have no contact, and I'm going to issue a no contact with the alleged victim in this case. And I believe, I'm sorry, I've forgotten him already.
Sean Berwick.
Sean Berwick, thank you, Ms. Yell. So you'll have no contact, and I am issuing a no contact order with regard to him as well. No contact, same as with the other, your stepfather. No contact means no contact, not in person, not by Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, or any other form of social media. You will not come within 1,000 feet of him, his home, or his workplace. If you see him in a public space, you are the one responsible for leaving, all right? And as I indicated previously, it is a new criminal law violation to violate this condition. It is a gross misdemeanor unless or until you have 2 prior convictions, in which case it becomes an automatic felony, and an assault in violation of this order is an automatic felony. You may not own, possess, or have under your control any firearms under state law or firearms or ammunition under federal law. And if you do have any, you must surrender them to law enforcement. If you don't have any, you must complete the affidavit of non-surrender. With regard to date, there's additional condition I'm going to place, and that is I want you to be taking your medication as prescribed. Because I think that's important. I am not going to require any proof to the court at this time. You come back before me with a new allegation, and we're going to be in an entirely different situation, right?
Yeah.
But I want to give you the opportunity. Obviously, it is in your best interest to also follow through with the therapy, but I don't think that I am quite at a point where I can require you to do so or provide proof to the court. But obviously in your best interest, stay in touch with Ms. Pimentel. Make sure that you're moving forward with what needs to be done here. With regard to court dates, I'm going to set this matter to let's see, it looks like we are scheduled for readiness on August 10th at 2:30. I'm sorry, at pretrial. If your pretrial is already scheduled for August 10th on the other matter, I'm just going to have the two.
Credence and Mikey did the whole thing for the most part, Lisa. So, like that's where I watched it from start to end. Their early morning stream. It said live, and then the name. You guys, this is the easiest recipe around. I'm serious. Y'all have to make this. It is so simple. It really is very little prep, very little cooking. And I'm getting more juice out of the mushrooms here. I'm sure if I squeezed more and did a little more manipulation, I could get more. But it is amazing already. I'm like loving it. And yeah, apparently the stuff that is in the mushroom sack there, when we dry that out, we're gonna almost dehydrate it. And then what's gonna happen is we're gonna grind it down into a powder, and we can use it to sprinkle on top of anything else that likes flavor. Rice, noodles, steak, potatoes, fries. Oh, mm. Oh yes, so good. Um, yeah, let's continue. We're gonna watch a little bit more of this. I don't have a big long docket for us today, unfortunately, because it is a holiday here. So this is stat pay. That means I get paid triple time for today. I wish.
Track together at this time. But well, that's actually just next.
I mean, that's fine, Your Honor. She's obviously already had notice to appear for court on Thursday. I think just knowing that we'll need to request a continuance so that we can get discovery for both
right.
cases.
So we'll see you at the court at 2:30 in person on both cases. And we'll set this matter for the October trial term. All right. So we'll see you though on both matters on the on this Thursday. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck to you. I think Ms. Pimentel probably is going to want to hear that you have taken some really significant proaction from between now and Thursday even, right?
Yeah.
So let's
Hi, Cachette. Also, you guys, I just literally almost did something so fucking stupid but I learned from somebody else's mistake. I watched this video once of this lady who made bone broth, and she worked hard on her bone broth. Is my gain like really high? Anyways, she worked hard on her bone broth, and she like videotaped the whole process, and then at the very end she went to strain out the bone broth and she dumped it down the sink. She just dumped it down the drain, and you could just like see her like realization as she's like dumping it, that it's like going down, 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 and she's just like I think she screamed. I think she did. I think I screamed. just like so upset. But so I was just walking with the mushroom ketchup and the dirty pot, and I thought, I'm going to put this in the sink. And I almost put them both in the sink. But I stopped. Luckily, I thought of that. Oh, William, I've never been one to follow rules. I'm more of a beg forgiveness kind of girl.
Let's get to a point where you're not talking to me like this anymore, right?
Yes.
All right, that would be a good thing. Take care of yourself. Again, you're going to need to get the affidavit of non-surrender, but since we already have you scheduled for Thursday, I'm just going to schedule that hearing for that date as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, so I think that covers everything. Anything else that needs to be done? All right, Miss Briggs, good luck to you. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you.
Ms. Briggs. You'll check yourself. Mr. Hunt, coming up, have a seat, please.
Sure, this is Keith Hunt, cause number 3A051736. This is on for arraignment, underlying allegation here being one count of domestic violence harassment. And again, I had the opportunity to speak with him in regards to the maximum and potential mandatory minimum penalties. We also discussed the constitutional rights he has at this stage of the proceeding, indicating no additional questions. And so we are prepared to move forward with the arraignment.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Hunt.
Good morning.
You're here for arraignment, so I need to confirm that Keith Madison Hunt is your true name.
Yes.
Ms. Pimentel just told me she went over quite a bit of information with you this morning, including your constitutional rights. Did you understand all of it?
I did.
All right, Ms. Pimentel.
We'll acknowledge receipt of the complaint, waive formal reading, and enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Not guilty plea will enter. The court has previously had an opportunity to review the police reports. Did make a finding of probable cause. What is the city's request with regard to release and conditions?
The city is not requesting bail for this matter. The city is requesting a no hostile contact with the victim, Sarah Clark Hunt, as well as standard DV conditions. And I believe members of the family might want to speak.
All right. I do see that there are two individuals here. Which one shall we hear from first? Ms. Hunt, did you want to go first, or do you want me to hear from, looks like Lynn Hunt? You're going to have to, each one or the other of you is going to have to unmute. There we go.
I can go first.
Okay.
At the time that I spoke with the officers, they told me that the charge was not an arrestable offense. I feared for Keith's life. When the police arrived, he was trying to drive his car without glasses. And they told me that there wasn't another option besides arresting him.
Anything else?
No.
Mr. Lynn Hunt? Oops, your microphone is muted there. So if you, I think if you're on your phone, if you swipe to the
unmute, I got it. I got it. Thank you.
Miss Hunt, sorry about that.
Yes,
So I've got to figure out what to do.
I have
Safety of the
been.
community. Miss Hunt, if you can turn off the YouTube that you have going in the background. Whoops, I think you got muted again because of that.
Oh, now I'm back with you.
There we go. Perfect.
It's complicated, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yes, it's so complicated. So, we have now squeezed out the liquid gold from this recipe. These are not roaches. This is our ketchup, mushroom ketchup, almost powder. So, like I said, this has an onion in it, the zest of a lemon, allspice, cloves, garlic, apple cider vinegar, mushrooms, salt. And then what I've done is cooked that out, separated that, and now this I'm gonna go put on the barbecue for a little bit and try and dry it out. I'm probably gonna put it on like on the top rack, I think. I might pull out these bay leaves. I'm not a huge bay leaf fan, so I'll pull out the bay leaves. I only put 2 in there, I think. 2 or 3. Anyways, okay. Yeah, I'll go put those on the barbecue. Yeah, the top rack of the barbecue, upper part. And we'll see from there. I got a higher rack. I don't know. Only when my bra is working.
We received, my daughter and I, between the two of us, received a message from Keith on, hang on a second, Friday night, saying that Sarah had kicked him out.
Mhm.
And so I didn't see him until, well, no, I did see him that night. I got him to come to my home. We tried to plug in his car. It didn't work. So he went to charge his car. And then he sent me a message saying, oh, I spoke with Sarah, who was very upset. And she said that their daughter was freaking out. So Keith went there to deal with his daughter freaking out, sent me a message saying he would sleep with her in her bed because he'd been up for 2 days straight. They were emptying the apartment of the last of their stuff because they were moving to her father's house, to Sarah's father's house. And because he went back, there's nothing I could do. I didn't think it was a good idea, but there was no conversation about that. The next thing we heard was he called my daughter and let her know that he was being arrested. And we actually have no idea why, because the messages that I have, it's Sarah that's doing all of the upset stuff, not Keith. Keith has never been violent, so I don't know how that applies at all. Anyway, I have a couple of things that I saved to my phone that might pertain, but that's really all I have to say. It's not Keith.
All right.
to
So
right. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. This seems to apply more to whether or not the offense was committed. And that's something that I'm sure both attorneys will want to discuss with you. But at this point, that's actually not before me.
Okay, thank you.
So what I'm going to do though is the city has asked.
Yeah, Lisa, I'm using the barbecue as my oven right now because it's too hot inside. So, yeah, I've got them in a tray on the barbecue. If I really cared, I could dig out my dehydrator. I'm not going to do that.
Has not asked for bail in this matter. They've asked that I go ahead and release him on his personal recognizance and set the matter for hearings. So, Mr. Hunt, I am going to release you on your personal recognizance on the following conditions. You need to notify the court in person or in writing of your current address. Most importantly, your current mailing address, because if we change court dates, I'm going to send you a summons. You'll need to get that because it is up to you to make sure we have a good contact information. If you don't appear for your next court date, obviously a warrant could issue for your arrest. So you're going to want to know about it if there is a change. Have no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause. Make an appointment with your attorney, make it to that appointment because they can't help you if you're not talking to them, right? Make it to your court dates, which I'm going to give you in just a moment, and you will have no hostile contact with Sarah Hunt, okay? So with that, I'll set this matter for pretrial on August 31st in person at the Bothell Municipal Court at 2:30 in the afternoon. Your trial date will be in the October trial term, but again, your next court hearing is August 31st at 2:30. Ms. Pimentel, was there a request for court-appointed counsel?
He indicates he is working full-time, but based on the amount of money he represented to me, I do believe he would likely still qualify.
All right, Mr. Hunt, I will, based on Ms. Pimentel's representation, I will make a preliminary finding that you do qualify for court-appointed counsel. It is only a preliminary finding. In the paperwork you're going to receive from the court will be an affidavit for you to complete that asks about your income, your assets, and your expenses. Without that document, I don't actually have a legal basis for granting you court-appointed counsel, and I might have to reverse my decision and charge you attorney's fees, which I'm pretty sure you don't want to have happen, so please get me that affidavit, okay? All right.
Yep.
But with that, I believe that will conclude this matter. I'll see you on August 31st at 2:30 in person at the Bothell Municipal Court.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's really return to yourself. Next gentleman up, please. Whatever, see counsel.
Now, the next matter is Mr. Thilmoni. This is cause number 36807. This is on for pretrial. We did submit to the court a statement of defendant on plea of guilty. This is going to be as charged to count 1, which is driving under the influence, and count 2, operating vehicle without an ignition interlock. Also did submit to the court the DUI grid as it stands. This is technically a second or third conviction within 7 years. So we did go over that in its entirety. We obviously also went over all of the guilty plea form together, all of the relevant portions that do pertain to not only these charges, but obviously this being where he sits within that mandatory grid. And so he's indicated at this time he has no additional questions. I would note the Spokane cases, which are currently in active warrant status, he has fairly recently resolved those. And so he has gone through this process with Spokane basically twice within the last few months. So based on our conversation, I do believe he's making a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary decision.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Thilmoni.
Good morning.
Am I pronouncing your last name properly?
Yes, Thilmoni.
Okay. I do have a document before me entitled Statement of Defendant on Plea of Guilty under your cause number 36807. Looks like you gave Ms. Pimentel permission to electronically sign this document on your behalf. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you have a chance to read or have read to you the entire document prior to deciding to enter into this plea?
Yes.
All right. Did you also go over the DUI sentencing grid, or the grid that goes with this?
Yes, we did.
All right. I'm going to go through the plea paperwork with you, starting on page 1, paragraph 1. Is Nicholas M. Thilmoni your true name?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you 33 years old?
I am.
Is the highest level of education you've completed the 12th grade?
Yes.
Paragraph 4 indicates the crimes that you're charged with today that you intend to plead guilty to are driving under the influence and an ignition interlock device violation. The elements of those crimes were set forth in the charging documents that you received. Did you go through those elements carefully to make sure that they accurately describe the crimes you intend to plead guilty to today?
Yes, I did.
You understand that those elements are what the city would need to prove at trial in order to convict you of these offenses.
Yes, I do.
Paragraph 5 sets forth the constitutional rights that you give up by pleading guilty. They include the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury in the county where the crime is alleged to have been committed, the right to remain silent before and during trial and to refuse to testify against yourself, the right at trial to hear and question any witnesses who would testify against you. You also have the right at trial to testify and to have witnesses testify for you, and those witnesses could be made to appear at no expense to you. You also have the right to the presumption of innocence. It requires that a charge be proven beyond a reasonable doubt before a finding of guilt could enter against you, and you have a right to appeal that finding of guilt after trial. Do you understand that these are your constitutional rights and that by pleading guilty today, you will be giving them up in this case?
Yes, I do.
Paragraph 6 sets forth the consequences of your plea. Did you go through those carefully?
Yes.
Did you make sure that the prosecutor's recommendation that is written in paragraph 6C, that it accurately reflects what they said they were going to recommend pursuant to the plea agreement?
I did.
But you understand, as the judge, I don't have to follow that recommendation or anyone's recommendation.
I do.
I could sentence you to anything up to and including the maximum allowed by law, which in this case would be 364 days in jail on count 1, plus 364 days on count 2, a $5,000 fine on count 1, plus a $5,000 fine on count 2, and
Crystal, you gotta put the exclamation mark first. That's why it's not working for you. Secondly, I'm very sticky. And I wouldn't call it squatting. Although I haven't called it squatosaurus before. Did you? The mushrooms, don't let me forget, they're out there.
5 years of probation. And if I did that, that would not be grounds for you to withdraw your guilty plea. Do you understand that?
I do understand that.
Also understand, if you are not a citizen of the United States, this plea could have immigration consequences.
I understand.
Okay. You also understand that there will be certain mandatory minimums that the court must impose based on your prior history and the facts in this case, which include a 90 days in jail.
Okay, I just need to say something that I have literally looked into starting a mushroom farm, because mushrooms, they can grow in like 8 to 10 days once you seed this. Anyways, I've looked into it. I mean, I used to grow weed.
Or 120 days of electronic home monitoring, and $2,095.50, which are costs, fees, and assessments. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
You also understand that there will be a suspension or revocation of your license or privilege to drive for 3 years based on this.
Yes, I do.
This will also affect your ability to obtain a commercial driver's license. Do you understand that?
I do.
Did you go over all of these consequences with Ms. Pimentel?
Yes, we did.
Ms. Pimentel, did you discharge your duties pursuant to Padilla and Sandoval?
I did, Your Honor. And just to clarify that he does understand it's the 90 days of jail with the 120 days of electronic home monitoring. That's not an and/or. That could be converted to the 8 additional days of jail.
All right. And I apologize, I did misspeak there, Mr. Thimoni. You do understand that, is that correct?
I did understand it.
All right. You also understand there are certain conditions that I must place on you that carry mandatory penalties that the court
Cherry. Lots of dick.
has no discretion to change. There are 5 of them. You may not drive without a license. You may not drive without insurance or proof of financial responsibility as required by law. You may not drive or be in physical control of a motor vehicle with a BAC of 0.08 or higher, or a THC concentration of 5 nanograms per milliliter of whole blood or higher within 2 hours of driving. You may not refuse a test of your breath or blood if reasonably requested by a law enforcement officer, and you must have a functioning ignition interlock device in any vehicle that you are driving, as long as one is required by Department of Licensing. Each of these carries a mandatory penalty of 30 days. If you commit more than one in a single incident, those times stack. They are consecutive is the legal term for it, which means if somehow you magically go out and do all 5 at once, then you are facing 150 days. All right?
Got it.
Each incident, whether it's one or more than one that occurs, carries also an additional 30-day mandatory suspension of your license or privilege to drive. Okay?
You guys, you know what just happened? I just was like checking the mushrooms on the barbecue. And I guess it's like unlatched or like wasn't locked. And so I like moved them around a little bit, and then all of a sudden the barbecue started rolling towards me, but my brain couldn't comprehend like that it was rolling so easily. So I immediately thought we were having an earthquake. I was just like, oh no, it's happening right now. And then no, I have a joint in my hand. That's why I'm caught. But luckily I put the brake on the barbecue. The mushrooms are doing fine. I was thinking maybe I should have added some oil, but I don't actually think so. The reason being because oil spoils. And these are, we want this powder to last.
Okay, got it.
So, has anyone made any threats or promises to get you to plead guilty today, other than the recommendation from the city that is contained in the paperwork?
No, they have not.
Are you doing so freely and voluntarily then?
Yes, I am.
Paragraph 11 is a statement in your own words of what you did that makes you guilty of this offense. It reads as follows. On September 29th of 2020, in the city of Bothell, Washington, I did drive a motor vehicle while under the influence of narcotics, and my driving was affected to an appreciable degree, and also did operate a motor vehicle without a functioning ignition interlock at a time when I was required to have one in any vehicle I drove pursuant to RCW 46.20. Is that a true and accurate statement?
Yes, it is.
Do you adopt that statement as your own?
I do.
Then to the charge of driving under the influence is charged here under count 1. How do you plead?
Plead guilty.
And as to count 2, the ignition interlock device violation is charged here. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Guilty pleas will enter. I find they're knowingly voluntarily made, and that there is a legal and factual basis for accepting the defendant's pleas of guilty. Does the city have anything to add to its recommendation?
Nothing to add, Your Honor. The city just requests that you follow this agreed recommendation.
Ms. Pimentel.
Mayor, Mr. Lore and I talked about this case quite a bit. Obviously, you can see the driving under the influence charges are very close in time. In Spokane to here, he did go over to Spokane. If you look in those dockets, be it they're not very detailed, it does reflect that he was booked into custody, I believe, sometime in May of this year. And he was only released a few weeks ago to come over to the west side so that he could address this Bothell warrant. So he has actually spent quite a bit of time in custody, obviously per those minimums and per those recommendations over in Spokane. He has not had time yet since he's obviously got picked up here to get started on a new evaluation. He did complete inpatient last year, the end of last year, and then spent obviously those few months over in Spokane in custody. He's going to be residing, it sounds like, over in the Sultan area. So what
I was checking the mushrooms. Lucy reminded me when she came in and said, hi, chat, KCC chat friends. And I thought, Lucy, I'm making mushroom ketchup. And then I was like, mushrooms. And that's why I ran like the Dickens. But then I came back and I was like, I need the joint. We remember the story that I told last week about my identity being stolen. I could have warrants in my name that I don't even know about. The police officer told me that. He's like, yeah, you could have been arrested 100 times and you would never know. I was like, that is so comforting. Not? Thanks, RCMP.
they indicated to him is that the court could give him a probation appointment via phone. He will need to contact his probation officer once he's released, although it sounds like he might know what's going on in Spokane so that they can get those warrants quashed. Those are obviously also for probation violations for being here back in custody. And so he's hoping to try and, now that everything is getting resolved, to try and get it all figured out. I did indicate to him that if he is going to be doing active probation here, certainly something to talk to his probation officer about in Spokane. Hopefully we can get that streamlined so that he's only reporting to one probation officer. I think, at least in my conversation with Mr. Lore, I think the city did also take into consideration that, be it there are 3 very close in time that he has not had any new law violations in quite some time. These are 2020 cases basically. So I think at least giving him, I mean, that case out of Spokane, the vehicle prowling was dismissed. And that last case, it looks like, was over 2 years ago. So we are asking the court to follow the recommendation with the mandatory minimums. He would like the 120 days of EHM to be converted to the additional 8 days of jail. Given the length of time he will spend in custody, he's not financially able to pay for that at this time, since he has not been able to work for at least the last 4 to 5 months, given the custody status.
All right, Mr. Thilmany, I'm going to look at something really quickly before I hear from you, because I want to give you my undivided attention. Okay. Give me
Oh,
just a
Sheena,
second.
please tell him to write me. That's so funny. That is the story, William, but this house is not that 3-story house. That house is being sold. So there will be some changes coming up. Also, y'all making me laugh, Sheena. I love it. He thought I was a bad influence. I am a bad influence. I admit that. But I'm also very nice. And I would love it if he wrote to ask me anything, I say.
All right. You now have my undivided attention. This is your opportunity.
Remember, my brothel idea is called Modern Madams, and I already have an idea for a brothel. It doesn't have to be in Bothell. And don't you worry, I figured out the legalities. Once you film it, it's porn, not prostitution.
To tell me anything that you would like me to take into consideration before I pass sentence.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just ready to have everything resolved. Like Ms. Pimentel had said, I was in custody in Spokane, a little over 2 months, resolving those DUI cases. I went to treatment back in October and getting clean, off the drugs and trying to get my life back together and get my family back really takes a big turn on life. So I was just ready to get it all done. I promised Spokane I'd come over to the west side, and I did immediately after getting released. Kind of got put in God's hands, got picked up right before I had to go back to court to show electrical monitoring. So I got put right in front of you to get this taken care of quicker than I thought was possible, but it happened. And I'm glad it did happen before anything else stepped in the way. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just glad that we can finally take care of this.
Okay, I'm looking here. Yeah, it looks like you got picked up right before your court date over in Spokane. You're gonna have to make a big change, right?
What are we believing? This judge, she plays tough, but we'll see. We'll see. Sarah Yell has never said a word. Actually, I have heard her speak. Remember, she works under Steven Tyler, who is the prosecutor in this office. Steven Tyler lookalike. And they are strangely quiet. The judge handles a lot of the sort of parts where the prosecutor would normally step in and be like, this is why this should happen. This judge does a lot of that. Maybe that's just how the courts are in Washington. I'm not sure. Regardless, let's continue and finish this up.
All right.
Oh, last thing. The real reason that my other channel got demonetized is because I am in fact AI. I'm just a really bad, hyped up sex AI.
Let's see here.
And I'm also doing 120 days of home monitor already
For Spokane?
for Spokane. Yeah.
All right. So you just want to just go ahead and do the jail time on mine, so you're not worrying about that, and then
Yeah,
And
because I
then
don't know if 6 months of home monitor. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
it is.
It's expensive. I don't know if I can afford that. So
All right. Well, give me just a second here. All right. I am going to follow this recommendation. Just waiting for something to load on my computer here.
It's possible that might be 500 now, Sashina. I don't know. At least 500 subs. Also, well, I've already got the watch hours on this channel with 10 videos. Do I? Probably don't yet, but I will by the time I get 500 subs. And if I posted more videos, like, oh, it's so frustrating. Because you need 4,000 watch hours. But like last month on the other channel, in 2 weeks, I got like 32,000 watch hours.
All right. I will follow the recommendation. I will impose the 364 days in jail. I will suspend 270 for giving you 90 days to serve. I will give you credit for any time served solely on this matter, which looks like it has been calculated at 20 days. I will also impose the mandatory 120 days of electronic home monitoring, but I will grant that that can be converted to 8 days of jail. So you'll have a total of 98 days of jail to serve. I will impose the $5,000 fine. I will suspend $2,904.50, leaving you $2,095.50. That does include the costs and assessments. You will be on probation for 60 months. The conditions of probation are going to be that you have no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause. You keep your address up to date with the court. Obviously, one of the problems that you're having is not making it to court dates, but you can't do that if you don't know when you need to be there. So we need a good mailing address so that we can get it to you. So keep that up to date with the court. You also need to make it to any future court hearings, and so make sure of that. Here come the 5 that we talked about previously. Supreme Court likes me to do it again at sentencing. So here we go. These are the ones that have the mandatory 30-day penalties. No, you may not drive unless you have a license. You may not drive unless you have insurance or proof of financial responsibility. You may not drive or be in physical control of a motor vehicle with a BAC of 0.08 or higher, or a THC concentration of 5 nanograms per milliliter of whole blood or higher within 2 hours of driving. You may not refuse a test of your breath or blood if reasonably requested by a law enforcement officer. And you must have a functioning ignition interlock device in any vehicle you are driving as long as one is required by Department of Licensing. Again, each of those carries a mandatory minimum penalty of 30 days. The court has no discretion to waive that penalty. Each incident that involves one or more of those has a 30-day mandatory suspension of your license or privilege to drive. I am also going to require that you obtain an alcohol drug evaluation and follow the recommended treatment. Now, it may be possible that you've done one that is current enough to be acceptable by probation, but they will determine that once they receive it. All right. If not, you're going to need to get another one. Work with probation. We call them probation. Other courts have changed the name to be court services and things.
Hector, I would more rather say that y'all are family rather than subscribers or members. That's absolutely true. I saw a message from Harmony last night asking for our prayers for her. And, like it's that kind of stuff that's important. I enjoy being a spot where people can come and hang out. And I'm a nerd. That's the reality of it. It's like, I spent about 30 minutes last night trying to explain F in the chat to somebody who plays Call of Duty. Anyways, I think I maybe I was a little too cryptic in my goodbye video. I don't know. I will go back over there eventually, but yeah, the subs, I would love them to be higher. It would be happy. Oh, tornado sirens, be safe. Get your shoes. Get to an interior room of your house. Take us with you. What else does Ryan Hall say, y'all? No, but seriously, be safe. Be safe. Um, we'll finish this out. We'll let this play out. You guys understand, like, I joke about, or a pillow, Chrissy, as well, for your neck. I joke about, okay, go to your shelter. I joke a little bit about YouTube Daddy, but in reality, I don't have a clue exactly what is required. So I am starting fresh this way, and that way we just know. I don't know. Every video is on here that I made. It's all original content. Anyways, let's continue. Yes, be safe, everybody who's out there. If you're having crazy weather, I'm sorry to tell you, it's absolutely gorgeous here. Just beautiful. I'm going to go back and check on the barbecue again. I have the mushrooms out there. They are slowly trying to dry out and eventually, hopefully without burning them. That's why I don't have them on direct heat. I have them up on the higher shelf. Hopefully we're going to get them dried out but not burnt, and we are going to then crush that into a powder, which I have no experience with at all.
Like that, I think you're smart enough to understand that they're the same person, regardless of what their title is. Their job is to keep you from talking to me. That is really their goal, which means if you're working with them and moving forward on whatever it is I've required, you don't have to talk to me. They do not send you to jail. I do, right? So who
Correct.
do you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you're in contact with your probation officer. Even if things are not going well, they can work with you. They know I'm an inherently lazy judge. I don't really like extra work. So they're going to try to get you to succeed really hard before they give me another case on a calendar. Okay? So work with them. All right. All right. With that, I think we have covered all of the conditions. Anything that I haven't covered? Anything anybody needs to know?
Your Honor, did you want to have an abstinence condition?
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. I was going to indicate that you may not own, possess, or have under your control any controlled substances without a validly issued prescription in your name. Okay? That is, I believe.
Bitch. I'm sorry. And I hate that I've been that assistant before and been like, Your Honor, did you not want to tell them not to ever use drugs? Oh, I'm sorry, Dawn. Please you be safe as well. Harmony was asking for prayers on one of the comments of a video last night. I'll try and find it. I responded back to it. I think it's on one of the recent lives.
I believe you're unfortunately what is led you to this position. I don't think it's alcohol, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So, all right. Good luck to you. I hope that I don't see you again wearing stripes. All right.
Me too.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care.
Those are all the matters that were physically transported. We do have 2 remaining matters to address. The first is Ms. Connell, 1A07489883. This is on for, it's a post-disposition matter, so it's on for active probation review. I believe she just missed court last week.
Yeah, so it was a message on last night's video, and it is from Harmony, and she posted it there, so I feel confident she would be okay with me sharing this, so I'm going to read it out loud. Most of you know that I've been fighting cancer for a minute. I never opened up to anybody on any other channel, but I felt safe enough to talk here. About 8 weeks ago, they stopped the treatments. I had a severe reaction. It's called Stevens-Johnson, and it could kill you. They did another PET scan, and the cancer returned. On Tuesday, they are going to remove all the lymph glands in my left groin. Please keep my girls in your thoughts. It would mean the world to me. They are my heart and soul. Thanks. So let's keep Harmony in our thoughts tomorrow. And we love you very much, Harmony. And please tell me your girls' names, and I will be happy to say hi to them and keep them in my thoughts too. Sorry to be a bit of a downer there, but I just remembered that happened. I already responded with a message right away, but I just wanted everybody here to know that as well. Prayers for Harmony so that we can help one of our own feel better, hopefully. The weather outside is frightful, I've been told, but here it is delightful. I really appreciate all of you guys being here, putting up with all the mismatch of channel nonsense that we are going through, but these are the growing pains. Also, I know, Crystal, every time they say abstinence, I'm like, these girls are talking, like, they need to use the better word, because, again, if they could, they would. Remember that the judge who was telling the girl to get on birth control? Oh, Beverly. Yeah, no worries, friend. We're done. That's the end of that docket for them. Let me see here. There's buttons that I can click that will, there we go. So I think that the mushrooms will need to stay on in a low temperature for quite a while. And so what I'm going to do is I will take some pictures of it once they're done. And then tomorrow, hopefully they'll be totally dried out and then we can grind them up together. Today was a crazy court day in many, many ways. If you did not already experience this morning, I urge you to go back. Well, you know which channels I recommend. So go back, watch Credence and Mikey. They handled it very well today. If you normally don't like their stuff because of sound effects and interruptions, today was a stark departure from that in a way. And not a bad, not in a bad way. Oh yeah, Georgia Peach has I saw that, Georgia. Thank you, Sashina, for reminding me of that. Georgia is got her channel going and she's got a premiere as well. So make sure that we go. I don't know if it might be on right now, actually. Oh no, I thought it was 5 Eastern. Guys, I can't keep track of all the time slots. Oh, is she going to start the video on her channel, like the full video, Sashina? Is that what you're talking about? In about 10 minutes? Oh, perfect. Well, everybody should go over there and do a little KCC raid. Look at me going and citing spam all over the internet, as usual. F in the chat for the hat. Although Georgia would get it, but yeah. part one, if you want to watch it live with some other people that maybe haven't seen it, that's a great idea. Head over to Georgia Peach and check that out. She looks like she's cut it into 3 parts. It was a long, long way. Like I said, I've already watched it. I slept in, but I watched the next, like, whatever, 2.5 hours of it uh, this afternoon. So, and I'm not going to do it again. It was depressing. I mean, it's a mental health crisis. You're literally witnessing a mental health crisis. And I think it's important, actually. They could use that as, we haven't seen Gracie T in a while. Maybe if you're listening, Gracie, miss ya. Um, but anyways, I was gonna say, because usually I ask Gracie what she thinks, because she's a nurse practitioner in like psychiatry, in like mental health stuff. And so I'd be like, Gracie, is this a good, I think it was actually probably a very classic presentation of mania. Um, again, I'm not a mental health provider, so I don't know, and it's not fair to diagnose somebody like that. But I think it's recalcitrant if we don't utilize what we have at our fingertips to learn just because we are not able to diagnose somebody. Like, common sense can sometimes take over, and you can learn from that without breaking rules or whatever. Anyways, y'all know what I mean. I love you very much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna go make dinner now. Check on the mushrooms. I gotta keep doing that. And come hang out in the Discord. It is a lot of fun in the Discord. Jonathan posted something just recently that I was watching, and we've got lots of fun things going in there. So if you're looking for us when we're not live on YouTube, the Discord is the place to be. Thank you all for being here and hanging out with me. I guess we're doing a part three of mushroom ketchup. We'll do a taste test and a part 3 with the final. Okay. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye. Also, how pretty are the flowers?